Alright, good morning. Today we're going to look at doing a little bit of common drywall repair you might see in a house. So this one had a thermostat was in here, but the thermostat's been moved. So what I'm going to do is just prep this. It's this very small hole, so I don't need to have any tape. All I'm going to do is make sure I'm going to trim around this edge to make sure the plaster has a good spot to bond with. So there's a couple of screw holes, and what I like to do with those is actually just push them in a little bit, so that the plaster will fill. Some people might try to cut away around it. I prefer just use a large screwdriver. So I'm going to take that, just give it a little push in, a little tap. Do the same for the second one. Make sure it's all inside the hole. Get another one down here. So the next step I'm going to do is take my utility knife and I'm going to score around to get rid of the paper that's extending beyond the surface. So I'm just going to give it a little cut. Same on the other side. And the plaster will go in and actually will bond with the plaster that's inside the drywall. I want to remove all those frayed edges. It'll be hard to get it to give you a nice smooth finish afterwards. Alright, so that looks pretty good. So the next step, I'm just going to take my putty knife and paint. So I'm just going to take that little bit of paint off. Okay, and then use your hands, are better to tell with your fingers if everything's smooth than it is by trying to look by eye. Alright, so now what we're going to do is we're going to add plaster into those voids. And the secret for plaster is try to do many light coats rather than one thick coat, because you don't want to have to sand. So if you do it correctly, you won't need to sand at all. But the first one is going to require the longest drying time. So I'm going to paste it into the biggest hole first. And you always go 90 degrees. So I'm going to add a little bit more down here to the side. Okay, and now we're just going to let that dry for probably 24 hours. I'll come back and we'll put another little light coat on. Alright, so this is coating number 2, so everything is really dried well. I actually left it for a couple of days. And actually, this is actually caved in, so it's like I had mentioned that as it dries, it will contract, so it will go inside. First thing I usually do is just take my putty knife and just give it a rub by the surface to make sure there's no little points, so you don't need to sand. And now I'm going to apply my next coat. So I'm going to go at 90 degrees to each other. Now a little secret, if you want to add a little bit more, the first part of it is to keep your putty knife flatter. If you put it flatter, more of it will travel with you. So I'm just going to put a little bit over each edge. And I'm actually going to use a larger putty knife to go the opposite direction. So 90 degrees, wipe off excess, done. Alright, and that will do 2 more times, and a very light sanding at the very end and ready to prime and paint. Alright, so this is the third coat, so it's 24 hours later. So I'm going to apply the mudding compound. Oops, drip there. I'm going to put a little bit extra on this time. I'm going to go by all the edges. And then I'll just use my large putty knife to scrape the excess off in the opposite direction.